Good job,
Hey, who's right outside? Sorry.
Clear.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I know I said sorry. I was sorry. I went so back with the one.
Right, take it. Get Will's picture there. Woo! Will, right here. Ready? Woo!
Way to go, Willie! Let's go, Will!
Okay. Where did he finish?
There's a lot of points. There's a lot of points to make here. Yeah. Gotcha. Over the replay.
Yeah, we'll talk about we'll take charge. Derby trouble, blinkers off.
There's Travers winner will take charge in the colors of Willis D. Horton of Marshall, Arkansas. He is a son of Unbridled Song, who passed away just at the start of the Saratoga race meeting from the top race mare Take Charge Lady, bred in Kentucky by Eaton.
We see her coming down the stretch. Will take charge with a white face, screen left. Now, blinkers were off after the Belmont, much like blinkers were off Palace Malice after the Derby. He is the now horse. He ran a very good second to Palace Malice in the Jim Dandy with the blinkers off. Here he comes back and wins. He had a ton of trouble in the Kentucky Derby. Probably should have finished much closer, so he's fairly legitimate.
Orb gets through along the inside. That was a surprise. The inside didn't seem to bother him, but it appeared to me that maybe after the layoff he came up just a little bit short. And just didn't quite have the usual kick that he has. Palace Malice obviously completely compromised by the start. Verrazano exposed at a mile and a quarter.
Orb finished third, Palace Malice fourth, and Verrazano was up the track. Our big three, as Will Take Charge pulls the upset. Join us for an extended wrap-up of the action here in Saratoga right after today's coverage. Go to NYRA.com. Next Saturday, Summer at Saratoga coverage continues on NBCSN for the running of the Woodward, Bernard Baruch, and Forgo. Summer at Saratoga continues next Saturday, 4 Eastern on NBCSN. From Saratoga, Tom Hammond for all of us at NBC saying so long. And welcome back to Saratoga Racecourse, where the 144th edition of the Travers Stakes has just been run. That $1 million race for 3-year-olds at a mile and a quarter, featuring the Kentucky Derby winner Orb, the Belmont Stakes winner Palace Malice, and the Haskell Stakes winner Verrazano. Here's the way Tom Durkin called it.
They're in the gate. And they're off in the Travers. It was a good start for Romance down toward the inside. Moreno's coming up from mid-pack now and up and after the lead. Verrazano forwardly placed, and Johnny Velasquez immediately guides him out of harm's way to the outside. Under the line the first time. And the front runner here's a long shot. It is Moreno out there by a length. Romance down on the inside, runs along in second. Verrazano just off the lead on the outside, running along in third. Orb is fourth, and in between horses, Will Take Charge is fifth under a very easy pace in the early going here. And then it's Golden Stole. He's only about 7 lengths from the lead, followed by Transparent. Palace Malice is only 1 horse beaten, and that is War Dancer. The opening quarter mile was 24 2/5 seconds. So Moreno out there on a 2.5 length lead. 30-1, and the leader down the backstretch. Verrazano continues on the outside of Romanche. Up the backstretch after a 48-4 opening half mile. The pace is slow to develop. Will Take Charge, and Orb, the Derby winner. Orb is now about 5.5 lengths from the lead. And then it's Golden Soul toward the inside, running along in sixth. Palace Malice, the Belmont winners, near the back of the pack today. And just in between horses there goes Transparent, and another 3 to War Dancer into the far turn. Moreno still there with a half mile to go. 3/4 up in 13-2. Verrazano on the outside. Orb will try to make his run through down toward the rail. Romanche is in between horses now with less than 3 furlongs to go. Will Take Charge is only 3.5 lengths from the lead. Palace Malice is starting to get it away as the field comes to the quarter pole. Moreno and Orb is trying to come through on his inside. The field turns for home. Moreno right off the turn, but he's still in front. Orb is charging at him now, and at the top of the stretch, it is Orb down toward the rail. Moreno finding out on the outside. Romanche is third. Will Take Charge is fourth. Moreno and Orb head-to-head. Palace Malice coming on the scene late, and then it's Will Take Charge. Moreno and Orb as they come down to the finish. Will Take Charge with the late surge. Will Take Charge is surging, and it's a photo finish. It's too close to call. Will Take Charge with a dramatic lunge at the end. And did he nail the long shot front runner Moreno? It was very close, and close for third as well, between Palace Malice and Orb. A thriller in the Travers.
Well, and they're painting the jockey and the paddock in the colors of the Travers winner, the colors of Willis Horton from Marshall, Arkansas. Well, so many unexpected things happened in the Travers. Palace Malice didn't break well. We expected to see him up close. Verrazano did not last 1.25 miles. Orb up close early, as he should have been, with a slow pace. Came through on the inside, which he didn't think he wanted to do. And, of course, Moreno ran his eyeballs out.
He did. I mean, like so many races I rode in my career, things totally changed once the gates opened. This was no exception. I think Will Take Charge and Orb were running just as they were in the Derby, almost as a team, to the quarter pole. Orb got the great trip on the inside, which, by the way, was really good today. And Will Take Charge went 5 wide. Palace Malice probably had the worst trip of any horse in this race. Stumbling leaving the gate, probably giving away a couple lengths right there. Then going even wider than the winner, Will Take Charge, and only getting beat about a length and a half at most.
You can make a strong case, and not to take anything away from the winner, Will Take Charge. You never really want to do that, but you can make a strong case that Palace Malice was the best horse in the race, because not only did the stumble and the lost ground cost him, it took him completely out of his preferred running style. I mean, this is a horse that's got excellent tactical speed. We all expected him to be sitting second right outside of pace-setting Moreno, and all that was just completely thrown up in the air, and Mike Smith had to call audible. The slow pace really helped Moreno. Orb had a dream trip, and to me it looked like he came up just short, having not run since the Belmont. Verrazano had a beautiful trip down the backstretch, slow fractions right there, empty, went into reverse at the top of the lane. I think the 1.25 mile suspicions about Verrazano were entirely founded in retrospect. Very eventful race.
I mean, I guess the question right now is who's at the top of 3
well,
division. I mean, I really couldn't tell you. Maybe Palace Malice. You know, maybe the Derby carries so much weight that Orb's there in a solid effort today, but it's surely up for debate.
Well, you know, what about Wayne Lucas? He's pushing 80 years old. He'll get mad at me for saying that. But and all he does is win the Preakness with Oxbow and win the Travers. When a lot of people said, you know, why is he still there? Why doesn't he retire?
And he made what may turn out to be a very fortuitous decision with Will Take Charge, very similar to what Todd Pletcher did in the Belmont Stakes with Palace Malice, and that is taking the blinkers off. I don't know if that was the real reason. He's always been a Jekyll and Hyde horse throughout his whole career, but the fact remains that since the blinkers have come off, he ran that very, very strong second in the Jim Dandy to Palace Malice, and now with Palace Malice's misfortune, he runs a big race again.
This is Will Take Charge's 12th start. You have to go back to his first or second and third starts to where he paired up good efforts. This is the first time since then, and he's put 2 good efforts together. So, yes, he's a Jekyll and Hyde horse for
Well,
sure.
you know, I think I put a lot of stock in what Lucas told Bob Newmeyer after the race, and that is that he's been a big, gangly, huge horse that's sort of just finding himself and sort of getting his rhythm and getting his coordination. I think back a ton of years ago to the 70s when Forgo ran in the Kentucky Derby. He was 17 plus hands high. He was gangly. He was awkward, but you could see that there was going to be some greatness there eventually. But, he ran into Secretariat in the Kentucky Derby, so he wasn't going to beat him anyway. But what a great horse he turned out to be because he grew into himself.
And Wayne has been talking about that aspect of Will Take Charge for a long time. He actually did something very unconventional earlier this year getting to the Kentucky Derby. Will Take Charge ran in the Rebel and ran a very good race beating Oxbow. Then instead of running in the Arkansas Derby, which would be the next logical step, Wayne just packed up and said, nope, I'm going to sit and wait until the Kentucky Derby. This horse is going through a growth spurt, and he needs the time. That's what a Hall of Fame trainer does, makes those decisions.
And he picked a jockey that was riding him for the first time.
He changed the jock, changed the blinkers. I mean, he's done enough changes to this horse until he performs. You can never count the cowboy out, that's for sure.
And he was overdue. I mean, Wayne has had, I hate to say this, but it's true. He'll tell you. He's had an abysmal Saratoga meeting. He was 1 for 40 at the Saratoga meet coming into this Travers, and lo and behold, he's in the winner's circle.
But he got it done with Will Take Charge today. Let's look again at the stretch run of Will Take Charge and his jockey Luis Saez.
Saez, he was paired with Orb, who's on the rail screen right here down the backside. There was only room for one horse. Lascano and Orb took that spot, so Jose Lascano keeping this big, clumsy horse out in the clear, which is the proper thing to do, even though he's giving up some ground. And at this point, it looks like everybody's tired. It looks like Moreno's probably going to hang on. But 1.25 miles is a little different animal. It's not just the extra eighth of a mile. It's the energy these horses have to use all the way around there. And it's almost like a grinding contest. Who can outlast who in these kind of races?
This is going to sound like blasphemy to Orb fans, but who knows? This might have been the outcome in the Kentucky Derby had the trip turned out completely differently for Will Take Charge. Think back of that Kentucky Derby. He was moving side by side with Orb when he suddenly runs into the rear end of the staggering Verrazano and had absolutely no chance after that. Who knows what might have happened if Will Take Charge had gotten a clean trip that day.
And here he noses out Moreno. There's the official photo finish. And a word about Moreno. His trainer, Eric Guillot from New Iberia, Louisiana, just had a Cajun cookout here at his barn earlier this week. He's been saying all along, no, this horse belongs. You think I'm crazy? You people think that I'm running a horse over his head? He proved to be right.
3 races ago, he put blinkers on Moreno, and that's when he completely turned the corner. He won an allowance race, or maiden race rather, off by himself. He went right to a stakes race competition, the Dwyer. He won that, and he was a very, very good race here at third in the Jim Dandy, so he's legitimate.
Now, obviously, Guillot had no idea that Palace Malice would break poorly from the gate, but he had the race handicapped pretty well. He said, my best shot for Moreno is if they just leave me alone and let the long shot set the pace and forget about me and have Verrazano worried about Palace Malice and Orb, and they're all looking at each other and leave me alone through a slow early pace. That's what he got. It had to be a heartbreaking loss, but he's got to be proud of the horse.
Well, just another weekend to go in our summer at Saratoga with the Woodward next weekend. Should be a great race as well. It's been such a wonderful tenure here at Saratoga, and coming up will be the Fall Championship meeting at Belmont Park. And for a word on that, let's go to Maggie Wolfendale. And Maggie, first of all, what did you think of today's Travers?
Well, Tom, it was a bit of a surprise for me as well, but the coach always seems to show up when you least expect it. And Will Take Charge has run competitively throughout his 3-year-old campaign and really got things done. And then Eric Guillot's horse Moreno, he ran a belter as well. So it was very exciting. It's hard to believe that we're going to have anything more climatic than that, but we do at Belmont as we turn our attention to that Fall Championship meet. And looking at Super Saturday, which falls on September 28th this year, we have the headliner, the Jockey Club Gold Cup, which, believe it or not, 8 Horse of the Years have won that race heading into their championship campaign. So it's a very, very good race. We'll probably see some of these 3-year-olds show up in there as well, and also a couple other grade 1s that day too. So looking forward to that. Then it's the New York Bred's turn, actually, towards the end of the Fall Championship meet in October on the 19th. So we have 7 New York Bred stake races, and then going back a week, we also have the 2-year-olds worlds, the Frisette and the Champagne. So that's always exciting. We'll see a lot of Todd Pletcher babies, I'm sure, that we saw win here at the spa showing up in those two races. So guys, that's the fall championship meet. Looking forward to it at Belmont. Tom, back to you.
All right, Maggie, thank you very much. And as we said, it's been a wonderful summer at Saratoga here with one more week to go. But let's take a look back at some of the exciting moments that already have unfolded here at Saratoga 150.
It will be Palace Malice and Mike Smith to win the Jim Dandy by a length.
Oh, this is my town, man. I love Saratoga.
Cross Traffic will take his place among the top handicap horses in the country with this victory in the Whitney.
But it's very rare that you see a horse start for the first time as a 4-year-old and make as much progress as quickly as he has.
And now it is Wise Dan who's taken the lead. Wise Dan in front.
He just gunned him down, and he showed everybody under adversity he can still run the way we think he can.
And they're off, going at each other. Full out, far outside, designer legs. Down to the line, a head-bobbing finish. And they're off. Can Corfu hold on? He did.
Well, he likes the track, and we'll take advantage of it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Princess of Silmar ran like a champion this afternoon and wins the Alabama.
What an amazing filly. What was this race? What did it mean to you?
Everything. That's all I can say. Everything.
And there's Todd Pletcher, the leading trainer here at this Saratoga meeting, but the Travers didn't work out too well for him as he had Verrazano and Palace Malice. Let's go to Bob Newmeyer.
Tom, I want to make a handicapping point about this race that is true not just with the Travers, but the races throughout the country. And that is the bounce theory. And it basically goes like this, that when a horse runs a huge race, he is liable to regress after that. Now, I posed that question specifically to Todd Pletcher yesterday at his barn about both Verrazano and Palace Malice. And I said, are you concerned, Todd, about a possible regression between the two horses? And he said, sure, it happens all the time. But in his mind, he thought that the horses had trained as well going into their last races, the Jim Dandy for Palace Malice, the Haskell for Verrazano, that they'd be okay. But if you're a bounce fan, you're the winner today, because if you bet against those horses with the bounce theory, we know Palace Malice had some trouble out of the gate. Mike Smith told me that. He was disgusted after the race. That's what happened today. And both, you could call it a bounce theory or whatever. One other note of interest, Wayne Lucas did have a discussion with his owner, Willis Horton, about the rider. Junior Alvarado rode him last time, and Wayne talked him into Luis Saez. So another victory for Wayne Lucas there with a good decision. Not that Junior Alvarado would have won anyway, but again, Luis Saez did win the race, and Wayne Lucas won that one as well. So a couple of quick notes from down here in the winner's circle. Guys?
All right, Bob, and We'll Take Charge becomes the 8th Travers winner in the last 12 years for horses that ran in the Derby but did not win the Kentucky Derby. We'll Take Charge wins it, and his trainer, Wayne Lucas, is having a press conference at the moment. Let's listen in.
Wayne, yesterday my wife and I walked into the track with your wife and yourself, and I asked you how...
My fiance, I don't have a wife
fiance,
yet. I'm working
sorry.
on that, though.
I'm sorry.
It'll be a lot easier to do this now.
Okay. Anyway.
We're trying to gather up enough money for a wedding ring. As soon as we get that, we'll be all right.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, I asked how he compared with your other two Travers winners, and you said that Thunder Gulch you thought you should have won the Triple Crown with, and that you may have gotten a little lucky with Corporate Report, but that this horse was a lot better, and you seemed very confident. Can you talk about that?
Well, I think probably this was our best training job. Thunder Gulch had really, he really set himself up for the Travers. He went through the Triple Crown, and then he goes over and wins the Swaps in California, comes back, and he ran in every race, and he was a tough, hard-knocking horse. But this particular horse, we had to do a little with. We had to change him. We had to get his weight up. We had to get, some of the things that we changed things. We took the blinkers off and we changed riders. My theory has always been that if you're not winning, and Willis pointed it out very, very much to me right after the Belmont. He said, it isn't working the way we're doing it now. Let's change up. So we did. We made some changes.
The coach strikes again, winning the Travers Stakes, and always good to listen to Wayne Lucas. So we're looking forward now for the final weekend, and that features the Woodward. And we were here for the tremendous Whitney performance by Cross Traffic, and I guess we're going to see some of the same horses back again in the Woodward.
Yeah, does Cross Traffic have another monumental performance in him? I mean, he's come such a long way in a short amount of time since the Met Mile. A successful Dan. Might have been the best that day. He ran a terrific second after flipping over in the paddock, so he was a little bit upset.
Flat Out is going to be in there for Bill Mott as well. But the real interesting horse on this list, of course, is the one second from the bottom, Painter, trained by Bob Baffert, who ran second in the San Diego at Del Mar in his last start. One of the feel-good stories in thoroughbred racing of 2013. This is a horse that was literally near death due to laminitis. Not that long ago, and most people wouldn't have given you any chance at all that he would survive that almost always fatal disease, much less make it back to the races, much less seemingly be as good now as he ever has been. And now he's going to come east to run here.
It's a near miracle, and boy, what a Woodward that is going to be, and a tremendous way to wrap up our summer at Saratoga. That'll be coming your way next week, a 2-hour show on NBC SN. Well, it was Travers Day at Saratoga, the 144th edition, and a crowd of nearly 50,000 turned out to see the big three. But what they saw was the graveyard of favorites once again. Saratoga's long-running nickname, as Will Take Charge, came down to win a photo finish over Moreno and take the winner's share of that $1 million purse in the Travers Stakes. Hope you enjoyed the coverage. Hope to see you next weekend on NBC SN.